Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is SockBot, and today is a little bit of a story time. So if you're interested in that, great. If not, stay tuned for tomorrow because I will be posting another video on Littlebigplanet, kind of referenced to what I'm going to talk about today. But it is spooky month, and so, well, most of the videos except for this and the video gameplay that I show over it, I don't know why I said video gameplay. Who says video gameplay? Gameplay that I show over it will be kind of spooky, so it does stick with the theme. But again, if you're not into a sort of story time slash emotional video, well, still watch it. It's still pretty interesting, but you don't have to. You can go watch that video tomorrow. But if you do like this sort of thing that's a little bit more, informal and I guess personal, feel free to leave a like down below and subscribe. But you don't have to because I don't really talk about this stuff a lot, but I do talk about my nostalgia a lot, and that's going to be involved in today. So I wanted to tell this story as like a quicker video because I didn't want to, bore anybody that didn't want to hear it, but it has to do with my memories of Littlebigplanet 1 and Littlebigplanet 2. So if you've watched a lot of my videos, at some point I may have mentioned in a few of them that I don't remember creating a lot of stuff when Littlebigplanet 2 came out, which is really weird, because it was a very long period between Littlebigplanet 2 coming out and the release of Littlebigplanet 3 in 2014. I think it was 2014? Yeah, November 2014, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I didn't remember creating a lot in it, and I thought that I just hadn't. I thought that during that time I just hadn't really done much except for the couple levels that I made. And those levels, which were two that I actually remembered prior to this video, I'll get to that, but they were my Gravicolor level and a CPU level that was more of like a practice with Littlebigplanet 2's tools because they were so different than Littlebigplanet 1. Well, a lot of them were. But I spent a lot of time just assuming that's what it was, yet when I was planning for this Halloween month that happened to kickstart this entire story, I was looking for a level I made based on the Hollywood Tower Hotel, also known as the Tower of Terror. I was looking for this because it was one of the creepier levels I ever made, and I remember it being really interesting, and I kind of wanted to see what it was like looking at it now with a lot more experience, and also looking at it now being older and just not having seen it for a while, to see if it was any good and to see if maybe I could even do a video where I remade that level. That might be coming, but that's not part of this story. So I tried to look for this in Littlebigplanet 1. I had only opened Littlebigplanet 1 probably once or twice since I got Littlebigplanet 3 in 2014, and both of those times were this year. And I realized that there were a couple levels there, maybe one or two, that weren't really finished, that I hadn't uploaded, and so I'd completely forgotten about them, and that was really cool to go back and see those. But it really wasn't that much, to be honest. The more nostalgic thing for me was the costumes that me and my friends had made back in the day in, 2008, 2009. People say that? 2009, that's what I was looking for, around that time, and I didn't think much of it. So then, here I am looking for this level, knowing I made it in Littlebigplanet 1, and I couldn't find it, and I was heartbroken, because I remembered a lot of it, unlike my Halloween level, which is also going to be mentioned at some point this month, because I did make a level specifically to play with my friends on Halloween in 2009 that was corrupted, and I'm remaking that as we speak, but that's going to be another video. I was looking for this because I knew I made it there, and I figured, it's not here. Where else could it be? So I looked through a bunch of other accounts that I had on my PlayStation. I looked through some friends' accounts that hadn't been touched in years, and it just wasn't there, and I was really sad. And I even tried importing some backups of saves that I had made at some point, and just nothing seemed to show it, and I was really sad. So I decided, well, I do remember vaguely at some point that that level broke, because there's an elevator in it, obviously. It's the whole point of that movie and attraction and the what was it, the Twilight Zone episode. So obviously there was an elevator in it. I believe that had broke at some point. That is my memory of this anyways. And so I thought, well, maybe that happened during Littlebigplanet 2, and if it did, it probably would have been a long time since I played it, so I probably downloaded it and deleted it off the actual internet because, I didn't want other people playing a broken level. And I thought that must be what it is. Okay, so let's find Littlebigplanet 2. Well, unfortunately, I have no idea where my disc is for Littlebigplanet 2, so not only did I have to buy it again, which, by the way, it's only $10, which is pretty great to digital download it, and that's what I did, and it unfortunately took about 2.5, 3 hours to download, even though I have high-speed internet, and following that, 21 updates. 21 updates in a row. I don't know what Sony was thinking, not, actually uploading the most recent version of the game to their shop, but Yeah, that took a lot longer. And when I finally did get into the game, lo and behold, I found it. And I was so happy, but that's not the end of the story, and that's not why I wanted to talk about it. Because that's not why I didn't post a video this Thursday, even though I was very much planning on it, and I was very much prepared to do so. When I uploaded, or when I rather loaded into the game, I looked at my Earth, or not my Earth, my Moon, which has all the created levels that you make in Littlebigplanet, obviously, and well, I noticed there were a lot of things that I didn't remember. And I started going through some of them, and some of them were just kind of like partial levels or things I had started and not finished, but other ones were a lot further along, and that was really, really cool because it was levels I remembered once I saw them, for the most part, except for maybe like one I completely didn't remember, but I remembered once I saw them and realized that, oh, I was totally wrong. I did make a lot of stuff in Littlebigplanet 2. I have a lot of stuff to show for it, and a lot of it was actually really good. And this was all before I started making YouTube videos, and all before I started really thinking about what makes a game good. And I had apparently done enough research for fun that I knew something about it. And I was looking back through these, and this was on Wednesday and Thursday, as I was trying to film a video and record and post a video for Thursday. And I got really pretty emotional over the whole thing. I remember going back and, like, playing these levels originally in Littlebigplanet 1, just going on to my Earth because they were still available there, playing through them and getting a little bit emotional, but going back and seeing all of these levels that I'd completely forgotten about, and seeing that they were actually decent, and that I actually had grown since Littlebigplanet 1 in terms of my creation skills, was actually really emotional, and I was, maybe bawling for like a few hours, but yeah. That was an experience, and this entire story is not an excuse for not uploading a video on Thursday, but I just thought it was interesting to talk about because a lot of these levels are now going to be shown in some videos, and I hope that you will enjoy them. And a lot of them have now sparked some interest in me creating more levels that are based on previous levels I made, but kind of refreshing them and going through them and talking to you guys about what I've basically learned since then, and what I realized about my own levels from back then that wasn't that great or maybe didn't work that well. And that's something I'm going to be talking about in an upcoming series, so I figured I would just tell a little bit of the backstory and of what happened, because oh goodness, was that an emotional roller coaster. I think realizing that even kids, as I was at the time, I mean, now I'm in my 20s, so I'm obviously not a kid anymore, but going back and realizing that as a teenager I created these things and that I actually was pretty decent probably caused the most emotional response from me. And I'm on camera right now, so I'm not going to start crying or anything like that because that's not like the camera mood that I get in when I'm filming, but it was just very intense to go back and say, hey, as a kid, I was actually pretty decent at this, and maybe you're looking at it now and thinking, well, that's not really true. Well, I mean, having not seen these and being able to be a little more objective at looking back at them, I'm pretty impressed with myself, and I don't want to go on too long about that because I'm just going to sound like an ass, but it was just very nice to go back that. So it was something I wanted to say in this video, because if you, as a lot of my viewers are particularly young and are creating within these games and stuff like that, and you enjoy it, and you spend a decent amount of time doing it, even if it just clicks with you for some reason, and even if you've only made a level or two, or you haven't even made your first one in Dreams or Littlebigplanet, or even if you don't own any of the games and you're just thinking about it, don't let other people tell you how your levels are. And don't let other people tell you what your games mean, or that your game is too confusing or doesn't make any storytelling sense, because any kind of that negative criticism that I received back then largely formed my, like, posthumous opinion. I say that like I'm dead, but my opinion now of what my creations were like back then. And having such a long gap between when I made these and being able to look back at them and say, wow, that was really good. And though I had positive responses from my friends at the time, it just was never, I just never realized that until going back now over 10 years later. And yeah, I hope that if you are young and you are creating like this, or even if you're my age, or even if you're older than me and creating like this, don't let other people's opinions affect how you look at your own creations, because it doesn't really matter how much you know about the game creation tool, even how much time you spend on it. All of those ideas that you're putting into a game like that, even into a professional tool, are unique. And I don't think as you're making them you'll realize how unique they are, but they really are. And that's important. And if you really enjoy it, stick with it and keep making stuff like that. Don't let it fall by the wayside because you don't think that there's any sort of people that will play it or any sort of future within that type of industry, because, well, there might be. And who knows? Maybe you'll even end up being much better than me. Or maybe you currently are, but regardless, I had been very discouraged in the past, and looking back on this, I wanted to make sure that other people know what it's like when you take a 10-year gap between looking at some of your own work. I'm sure a lot of artists can speak to this too, but I don't want to go on for too long because this is turning a bit ranty. But if you did enjoy this story time slash, I guess, Gabe plays dad for a little bit, please leave a like down below and feel free to subscribe, and let me know if you guys have any stories about game creation in the past, or maybe you remember what excited you about dreams in Littlebigplanet in the first place, because it's always interesting to look back on that and see how it's changed, or see how it hasn't in my case. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, again, feel free to like, feel free to subscribe if you want to see more, but as always, no pressure. I will see you guys probably tomorrow, maybe Sunday, if I cannot upload this by tomorrow. But that will be far more spooky and far more exciting, and I will be talking specifically about one level, which is a sort of Yeti expedition type level. It's creepy more than scary, but I thought it worthy of Halloween. And stay tuned all month, because there will be quite a few Halloween-y videos, and no, I will not stop saying Halloween, so don't ask me to. Alright. Have a great day, guys. I'll talk to you soon.